So I just went out for a walk, and I was planning on doing a BB video, but what ended up happening was since my sibling was over here, usually we just kind of hang out or have fun, so I don't spend as much time in solitary or solitude rather, which decreases my usual work ethic. But I will try to put one up tomorrow or on Wednesday because I do have some scripts. I just have to record it and then edit it. So I have been online in some regular capacity for the last 12 years because when I was in fourth grade, my father bought me my first laptop. And that was when I became person that was more active on YouTube. Like I knew what YouTube was a few years before that, but I didn't use this often because I didn't have a computer I could take anywhere with me. And I bring that up to simply say that I've been online for a while and I've noticed a very disturbing pattern, which is that it seems as if there are people online who, if they are of the same gender as you, uh, they obsess over you in ways that the other gender doesn't. And I'm going to give some examples as we get a little further into the stream. But between June of this year, ever since we've been in the quarantine, I've tried to be pretty consistent about streaming, having one on Saturday, one on Sunday, and then one on Monday. I've done less on Sunday because I've kind of been feeling a little bit burnt out. And there was a stream I did in about either July or the month before that, sometime in the last 3 months. And a user who first appeared on one of my streams maybe 2, 3 weeks before that asked me if I was a virgin. It was a man, by the way. And I thought it was very weird because why would another man care about my penis? I just didn't understand where that would benefit him in the slightest to know the information. But I answered it uh, and actually didn't get rid of that person until they tried to say that if you don't like find their jokes funny, you have a mental illness. Because I just don't think if someone doesn't get your humor, we don't need to pretend that they have a mental impairment. So roughly a month or so ago, a month or so after that, excuse me, and within the last 2 weeks, actually, I did a stream that was attended by, I think, a slightly bit more than usual. Sometimes you get 5, 6, 7 people. This one had about maybe 10 or 11. And one of the users that attended was a person I'd never seen before, which is often when people ask like weird things on streams, usually it's someone you've only seen one time or you've never seen before, just coming around and trying to, I guess, be disruptive. But this user came on here and they asked how old I was, and one of the, I guess, regulars over the last couple of months said that I was 7. And then after that, he asked how if I was in a relationship, and it's just again, it's more like weird stuff from another man. But again, it wasn't as bad as the first person or the one I mentioned previously. And then when I was doing a stream this past Saturday, the context is that there was a user who responded to a 2-year-old video I did. Um, and they left a pretty decent comment. It was, I guess, somewhat nice. I just really don't like it when people try to assume they know what I'm thinking. Um, Maybe other people haven't had the same experience, but oftentimes when you discuss the relationship stuff, people try to pretend as if they're in your head. They go, "Oh, you probably believe this, or you probably think this, or you probably, or you don't even know this. You don't realize that." They try to. I call it psychoanalyzing, and I just call it that because I've never seen other content that I've done responded to in that way. That's why I said the chick stuff really has caused people to uh, act more antagonistic and doctorish than usual. Because if I talk about politics or one of Dragon Ball or just anything else, I don't have people who say in response that you probably believe this, you probably thought that. They don't try to act as if there's some there's some kind of psychiatrist online. But anyway, this user left a decent comment. It was one I didn't really like all that much, but it wasn't, you know, strange or invasive or anything like that. And this same person shows up on Saturday to ask me, why do you always wear the same shirt? I was like, well, that's kind of a little strange. Why does another, but I stopped for a moment because usually when I'm doing a stream and like it seems as if the chat is decent, like actually saying things I like or think are on topic. It makes it to where when someone writes something like that, all the more jarring and noticeable. It's kind of like if everybody comes to work wearing red and that one person's wearing yellow, they stick out like a sore thumb. But the reason this was all the more obnoxious than it usually would be is because I actually had a user over 2 years ago. It was like the latter part of 2017. This person came on one of my videos and commented, "Why do you wear the same shirt?" And that's actually before I started, because I mentioned before I record stuff, um, you know, one day out of the week to put up for over the rest of the week. So, for example, if I put up an upload between Monday to Friday, and I'm on camera, usually it's something I recorded on Saturday. So all of it's just being recorded back to back, which is why it would appear that that would be the case. But this person asked this weird comment. I don't respond to them, and then they vanish. Right, I don't see anything of them until it's like very early 2000, over a year later, 2019, and I'm doing a stream, and this same person comes and they go, "Why do you always wear the same color?" And I'm asking, I'm just looking at this, just kind of in bewilderment, like, why does it matter to you what I have? Because I watch a lot of people who get on camera, whether that's TYT, Secular Talk, David Pakman, Jimmy Dore, and I swear I have never once sat back and said, "I wonder what he has on today," because it doesn't register to me as someone who's actually trying to listen to what those people are talking about, to get caught up in the minutia, the insignificant trinkets of apparel and other things that just are not factors in why I bothered to watch those people. It'd be different if I was, let's say, hosting a fashion show, or this was, I don't know, I made it some feature of what I was talking about. Like if I said, today I woke up and I put on a yellow jacket, and then I'm wearing a yellow jacket, I can see where someone that would draw their attention. But if it has nothing to do with what's being discussed, I don't really get, the Bachelor show. Imagine I got one of those little black hats on, and people are coming out wearing the different outfits. I'm like, oh my God, I have the best thing on. Like if I did that, I'd be setting myself up for someone to comment on it because I'd bring it to your attention. But if I'm just sitting here discussing the news and you're like whacking off to whatever I have on, it's weird. But again, it's always men who write this kind of crazy crap. In the last 3 months, I've had a man ask about my dick. I've had a man ask about what clothing I had on. I had a man ask. It is really strange that it's people of the same sex who I don't see what they get out of knowing any of this or asking about any of this, focusing so squarely on things that have nothing to do with them. There was when I was talking to this clown, this dumb broad that I've lambasted a couple of times for the stupid stuff she did. She was not wanting to be involved in relationships with men anymore. And I told her explicitly, the only reason I care about that is because I'm interested in you. That's it. So if these straight men are supposedly straight, I don't know why they would be interested in knowing this information. But even if you step away from YouTube, right, you just go to other websites. Wikipedia kind of has that a little bit, not as blatantly. They're a lot better at disguising how much they're obsessed with people. But I talked about when I did my "Why I Hate Wikipedia" video, having a user on there stalk me to several different pages who I knew was a man, having another guy who got angry that I reverted his edit, which I only reverted because he was trying to delete a whole bunch of stuff that, you know, without any consensus. Tried to like go through my edits and write a bunch of paragraphs to me for a whole week. And it's like, you know, like the really aggressive, you're doing too much strange behaviors on that site. It seems 99% of the time are by men. Man, Wikipedia is the most that site really was driving me crazy. Like, I've never seen somewhere that you give so much to it and they still treat you like trash. I mean, I guess YouTube is kind of like that a little bit too, because people will say you need to have this kind of camera and you need to go share your video across the world to get views. And then you have people who say your stuff is good and they don't comment on anything. So I guess, you know, they're kind of like two peas in a pod. But the thing about Wikipedia that's strange is that a lot of the users on there are able to just kind of do weird things and get away with it because there's not that many people paying attention to it. It's because the men who comment on their appearances are the most insecure people. Yes, but I'm saying that I have never once watched a video by someone that was discussing something and was not talking about their own appearance. So again, if I said, I am pretty, then I would be setting myself up for people to pay attention to the way I look. But a lot of the, I guess, guys that are critical of chicks, like BBS, they don't show their face because they don't want to be harassed by other men, you know, over a video that they didn't like, or insulted for something that really should not be that big of a factor, especially since, you know, James, you know as well as I do that a lot of these chicks that end up getting with someone aren't exactly the most, let's just say they're not all supermodels. like the idea that, and I guess that's really what bothers me about it. They're trying to say that if they don't personally find you attractive, nobody else would. Which I think is nuts, because there are a whole plethora of broads that I just don't find appealing at all, and they still get with someone. The men who ask these questions have to be trolls. I just don't see why anyone would ask about your Well, you saw what's his name do that. Remember, first he asked about World of Warcraft, and then he wanted to ask about that. And I guess with me, it's a lot harder to call someone like that a troll due to the fact that after he asked that and I answered, he still was seemingly writing stuff that was, I guess, not akin to a troll. So I think it would be easier to dismiss everyone that writes those kind of like weird things as all being, you know, antagonistic. But when you see, like, if some other ones hang around after that, I'm a lot less, what's the way of saying it? Prone to calling them those types of things, like saying, oh, this person is trying to mess with me. Because if after that they speak normally like everybody else, you know, I'm not going to, what's the way of saying it, be on my guard for if they write anything crazy. I think there's a big contingent of men who like genuinely get something out of screwing with other men online. Whether that's, you know, because I mentioned before, I have my whole comment section of stuff from before last year, all archived in my email. And one day I just typed in the word ugly, and I found not one, not two, but at least 4 different instances of various men across various videos talking about how they didn't think I was pretty. And again, if it's more than one, it's really frustrating trying to describe this, because a lot of times people believe if there's numbers to something, it validates it. So for example, if I can find 5 people who say James is a bad musician, they, you know, somebody would say, oh, well, that means that he's not considered good. But if those 5 people are out of 1,000 people who either like James's music or they're you know, indifferent to it, they don't really dislike it or strongly like it, just whatever, then surely it must not be that awful. So I'm saying that if you have a large number of people and then there's that small group that is saying something weird, the small group that's saying something weird by itself should confirm that that's a tiny group of people whose mind jumps to that. Because most of the time, the reception to if I did a romance video before I like started getting rid of the comment section was for people to give advice or to say they related to this or usually one of those two things. And the group that is like trying to talk about the appearance of another man is really small, but there's enough of them to notice that that's a thing that they do. So if I have 5 of those comments out of 1,000, they're not the majority, but they're still a big enough group for you to go, hey, what the hell are they doing? Why are they, so fixated on my appearance? I told you the creepiest things to me done online have been by other men. With the Discord snake, that was a guy who literally waited a year, after I had blocked him to make another account and then try to friend request me on there. And then after I said, I'm not giving you my channel's link, he goes on YouTube and types in with his creepy little self, my first name, until he hears a video with my voice. Now tell me if you did that to a woman, would people not say you were creepy? If she said, I'm not going to give you this channel's name and you only knew her first name, and then you went on and you didn't know what she looked like either. So you had to go dig on this website with billions of videos on it until you heard her voice. But again, that's the kind of weird stuff men do to other men online. Nah, James, that was crazy. Oh, you know what? You probably don't know who I'm talking about. Do you remember the guy that started crying because of a certain animal that he only had for a few days getting picked up by its owner? Do you remember? Guys do that with social media. Well, again, it's made creepy. Look, if my name on, let's say, Discord was, my full name, and then you type it on YouTube and I'm there, that's just whatever. But you don't remember. Oh, damn. Okay, so this same guy found a cat, I guess outside or like lost, whatever, right? And the owner this was like 2 years ago. It was still funny. The owner came to pick it up after, like locating it with him. And he started crying because he felt he had bonded with this animal and he couldn't believe that he had to separate ways with it and blah, 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 blah. But it was funny because of how he was tearing up and crying because the owner was taking back an animal that was theirs. It's not like the cat is getting skinned alive. And he only had it for 3 days and he developed this magical bond and was saying that the cat loved him and purrs for him and all this trash. No, I remember I told you about that, James. You said that was stupid. I've never seen somebody cry over a cat they have for less than half a week getting taken back by its owner. I would search for her first name till I found an account. Yeah, but the person said, okay, maybe you still don't get why this is creepy. Imagine all you know is her first name. You don't know what she looks like. And you go on a website with billions of videos until you hear one with her voice. That should sell why it was creepy. Like my voice was so enthralling for him that he decided to spend hours digging to see if he could find anything on YouTube with it in there. Oh, and you better believe after I found, because he's an idiot. So I mentioned before on YouTube, when you have your subscriptions public, you get the emails notify the person you subscribe to of you subscribing to them, so they know that you subscribed. And he was like asking after I confronted him, "Oh, is that a bad thing?" He's like, "Well, dingbat, you would have mentioned that you found it if it wasn't a bad thing." That guy must have been really lonely, but I still don't remember. LOL. Well, I remember telling you about it, and you said it was stupid. So I think you know, it might. I do believe you probably forgot about it, but I just remembered it because of how ridiculous it was, and he tried to hide behind the fact that it was because they do this thing where if what's the way of saying it? If you criticize someone's like weird attachment to an animal they just met, they try to hide behind getting attached to an animal. Oh yeah, it was. It was during the call. You were like, you know what? The more I look at this, this is stupid. But he tried to hide behind the fact that he was, I guess, closer to animals than people. I said, listen, if somebody wants to get upset because their pet or their animal they have for a year, whatever, you know, vanishes, you know, to God knows where, whatever. But you're crying because an animal you knew for less than half a week is getting taken back by its owner. No, it was during a call that we had. Only time I ever cried over an animal was this dog I had that ran away, and I had that dog for 6 years, not 6 days or 6 hours. So again, it's more a matter of how little time he had it, and the fact that it was going back to its rightful owner or the person that had it before. It's not, you know, getting taken to be put down or anything. Like what a horrid fate for this animal to go back to the person that was caring for it before I was. Oh darn. That's nuts. Nope. I mean, it is what it is. I guess in retrospect, I'd rather have had it run away than have it, you know, eventually die and have to bury it. It is what it is. But now I was just simply saying that it's not about getting attached to an animal. It's the fact that you got that attached to something you didn't even have for half of a week before they like to play their little spin game. But yeah, the people on Wikipedia are so similar to the ones on YouTube, except they have a little more power because they can, you know, you can't block them and they can like mess with your edits. And that's why I got sick of the site because what's the point of adding information to somewhere that anybody can take down anytime they want? Oh, and then also trying to add that while being stalked across multiple pages, uh, told that you don't matter while they beg you for money every year. Like one time I was just sitting there because I mentioned before that ever since I got into the squabble or whatever that I had last year that made me just stop being an active user. I've only edited for 2 weeks since then, and I came back just to try something different, and still got the same result of harassment. But one time I was just sitting, you know, thinking and debating of whether to log back into my account, and all I just remembered were all the times I got screwed with by the people on there. And again, you're doing that for free. There's no reward. It's not like there's a pot of gold that's going to emerge on my computer if I log back in and start editing. So the juice was not worth the squeeze. Oh, James probably doesn't remember that one either. That was something this guy. So somebody was doing a stream on like how annoying it is to talk to chicks when they, you know, pretend they're interested and then go jump off somewhere. And one of the guys in the live chat actually typed that in response to like how approaching chicks and then getting nothing means you have nothing to gain from talking to them. And he said the juice is not worth the squeeze. And I remember I told that line to Triple L when I was like mocking how much she wanted to believe that, oh, if you just keep trying, you'll eventually find someone or whatever. And she's gonna ask me, was that person part of that one of the romance groups? Like, how am I supposed to know what affiliation a random individual in the comment section has? Oh, there's two Kevins. Or maybe it's one on two accounts. That could always be a possibility. I actually did have one of my subscribers do that where they sat on two accounts trying to message me. An imposter. Well, there was a guy who donated to me on Super Chat that had the same first name as me, and then I made the joke that I had donated to myself. And then he proceeded to use a racial slur, and I was like, "Yeah, don't make me ban you." Oh yeah, that was something I mentioned before that I went to this one school for 11th grade, and after I left, year after year, I didn't hear a word from any of the people because by the time when I left, it was probably 5, 6 months before I started doing YouTube regularly, and I didn't hear a single word from any of the people that were on that not on that site, but were online that went to that school with me. And then ever since the my actual hey, what was it? The PlayStation and dildo or whatever. I remember that meme. But anyways, for year after year, didn't hear a single word from any of these students or none of them, right? And then ever since the virus broke out back in March, I've had at least three of them come on my channel and try to talk. I'm like, why are you here? It's like, I would be interested in reconnecting. It's like, just now. I even had one of these people who the last time I spoke to them was not on good terms. They basically told me to kind of just piss off, and then they returned like, "Why are you here?" I remember my last interaction with you, and it wasn't too pleasant. Now he had what was like some rap song playing at the start of that video. Yeah. Well, I mean, when I think of the people who came back this year, we had the Discord snake, who in 1 week was able to unleash levels of stupidity that are very impressive. We've had these kids from this school that I haven't gone to in 5 years who ignored you year after year, but now want to speak. I'm good. So I get what you're saying. You might want to reconnect, but there's a reason you're not connected. Let's put it that way. There's a reason why that's the status quo. Seriously, some people you are better off just not being affiliated with. But hell, even if you think about all of the different, like, I guess, attempted reunions I've had this year, it's always another man. Like there's a weird thing about, I mean, my freaky, oh, I don't know what makes them freaks, but whatever. But anytime you feel like you're being followed or pursued or harassed, 9 times out of 10, it's by another man. I think I might have had one bimbo that was saying that because you talk about politics, you're considered boring by chicks or some kind of thing. And I was laughing at that because it's like, how the hell are all these news anchors and political commentators married if that's the case? And remember, I only talk about it. If you were to add up the number of hours of stuff I put up that's political each week, I probably talk about it for maybe, if it's not on the stream, probably 20 minutes out of a whole week. Because most of my videos aren't that long, but they're talking about it for hours on radio shows and podcasts, and it's like let's not try to pretend I'm into something that is so magically unique that no one who's been into it has ever gotten screwed or with someone or whatever the hell. Illiterate chicks like guys who talk about politics. I mean, whatever. I just don't think it makes them. But you know, that's another thing, Kevin. They love to when they're playing a little psychologist game. Oh, you're into this, so you can't get with anyone. Things that have nothing to do with each other are now all magically connected. Told you I still can't get over the dumb video accusing me of using politics to quote unquote cope with not getting with a woman. I was like, I went to school for years to learn about this, just to not be upset over getting screwed, right? And most of those weird observations are made by other men. Like when I was doing the different romance videos, the main people trying to psychoanalyze me were other men. Oh, you're probably not confident. You know, I'm gonna do this video about this stupid thing this chick said, and it reminded me of a person I actually do have a decent interaction with to this day, who I briefly mentioned when we were speaking to each other, like having difficulty with getting with chicks. And there was a moment when we spoke. He was like, "Oh, you probably say something." And remember, this person, just as a, I guess, prerequisite of understanding this person never seen me talk to any broads at all. Has never just has not witnessed in any capacity me speaking to members of the opposite sex, but because they need their psychologist BS to explain away why someone's having trouble with this, they try to make these assumptions that are rooted in nothing. I didn't realize how many people actually did that, where they need to feel better about a crappy situation. So even if they're completely ignorant of it, they just assume something. Like I do a video, I can tell by the way you were looking at during this that you are unconfident. I had a dingbat. It was about maybe 6 years ago. I took a picture where I wasn't smiling. I was just like this. And she was like, your insecurity comes out in the picture. I was like, what? Like, that's that we're getting to a point where we can now analyze someone's internal feelings from an image. Slide in here right quick. What are you sliding into, Slum Digger? Oh, you're I mean that was your friend that said that in his little goofy backwards video. Oh, you know what, Kevin? I have to apologize. I got your comment mixed up with Slum Diggers because you guys have these same, like, your avatars aren't similar, but since I have my glasses on, I can't make out the distinct deep details. So, and they're like right on top of each other. But it became like a bad thing, you know. Like it's all about connecting stuff that has nothing to do with each other. Uh, So, for example, if I talked about sports, you're talking about sports to escape from the romance. They would do that with anything else I discuss. If it like I don't do the Dragon Ball stuff that as much as the political stuff because I try to edit those and have a script or whatever. But if that was my main thing, they would use that. They would go, well, you're using this to get out of to cope with not being in a relationship because it goes back to that thing of delegitimizing, you know, you as a person. That's why I did the video about like the dehumanizing of men, where you're not allowed to have interests that are separate or independent of, I guess, for lack of a more wanting term, your love life. So they need to make everything just tie together. They saw Marvel do it where they made the cinematic universe. They need to tie, they tied all these movies together. So now they're going to tie all these different things in your life together that have nothing to do with each other. I think James must have left. Oh well. Went to go record his first album. Oh, that's another thing I should have mentioned, that there was a guy 2 years ago who wrote a comment that was so damn long I couldn't even take a screenshot of it because it was just this enormous wall of text. But one of the things he said in the video, as part of not the video, the comment, as part of his unsolicited advice, was that, and James might remember this because this is when we would speak on the phone. Do you remember the guy that was like, you need to get a skill or develop a skill set or acquire a talent or some kind of? Do you remember that? And I thought it was the wackiest thing in the world because why does someone have to paint or I don't know, make music, or what was the other crap he said? Build a model kit to get with the raw. Well, that's why I did the stream. Work on yourself forever. Like, when does it stop? When are you finally complete enough to be worthy of going out with someone with the holy vagina? Like, you never see any chicks get told that they need to do 99 different things before they can go on a date. And remember, you're doing all this self-improvement stuff for one date. Not to get married, not to have sex with someone over and over and over again, just one date. That if the broad doesn't like, she can cancel even while it's going on, or never have another one with you. So imagine this: you go out and build this model kit and release this album, and get these abs or whatever the hell else they tell you to do, and then the broad says yes to one date. You go on the date, and then after that, she doesn't want to go to another one, and then you just wasted your time, or rather, you succeeded in getting that one date for that one broad. That's why the guy said the juice is not worth the squeeze. Really, all the chick stuff is just trying to make men do things they would otherwise have no reason or want to do whatsoever. You will get a woman once you have insert arbitrary thing here. I don't know why they don't just admit they're basically saying they're all gold diggers. Like when the guys were accusing me of being broke or whatever the hell. I mean, there have been plenty of chicks that were homeless that have children that are, proven to be impoverished and are still able to get someone to screw them. So it's clearly not something you, quote unquote, have to be intimate with a partner. It's just something that they like to prop up because, again, when you have a penis, you have to jump through a million different hoops. He said to build up like a profile or something because that'll make the woman impressed about what you can do. But I do remember that one. I know some broke dudes that give females all the time. Yeah, so do I. Ones that have gone to prison, that couldn't even pay their own bail, or rather, I'm talking about. Just there's been too diverse a net of men who have been able to get in relationships for me to take these people seriously anymore. Like if you have someone, I've had people try to insult my hair, for example. You've had people with afros, people who are bald, that are able to get with a woman. It's too big a group. That reminds me of the pickup artist approach. Look interesting, social media, make it look like you live a fun life. Yeah. So basically con them. Because remember, you're not posting any of that stuff because you want to post that, or it's true, or it's something that you're posting because you enjoy it. You're doing it so you can coerce some random broad into being interested. Just like with me, I don't do political stuff to get with some dingbat. I don't do my show to get with a dingbat. I don't do the Dragon Ball stuff to get with a dingbat. All of it is because I want to do it. So I don't walk away from it and go, why didn't a woman post a message saying she was interested in me? The pickup artists were lying. Imagine you go out and get the what do you call it, the six figures or whatever, and then all the abs, and then you go and talk to some broad and she says she's not interested, and then you have the realization that those the pickup artists were lying. You're like, they told me that if I had a six-pack and six figures, I would get a woman. Those filthy computer bastards. That reminds me of the pickup artist. Oh, okay, I already read that. Even going as far as to rent an exotic car and put on Instagram to make it look like you're rich. Yeah. Well, I had one dingbat on the video who said that who compared me like saying I'm done like actively talking to chicks. She compared that to applying for a job. I said I didn't respond to her, but I'm like, oh, you don't need a woman to live. You need a job to be able to afford things, to pay for stuff. Utilities. A vagina is not a utility. I was shocked, but they actually believe that they make parallels between looking for a job and looking for a chick, and it's really nuts. I don't know. Again, I just think a lot of it is unrealistic. Like you have some people who say you should not show your emotion to a woman, or you should not let it be known that you're unconfident of things, or you get depressed over it. And I'm like, okay, if you're going to be with this person for an extended period of time, isn't it going to make it to where you eventually show different facets of your personality? So, for example, if I talk to some broad for a week, like maybe two days out of that whole week, right? Uh, I mean, I guess if it's a short conversation, I can remain one calm, active way. But if I'm talking to this person for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months, they'll see me when I'm in a good mood, when I'm pissed off. Like it, these are very unrealistic expectations. And then there's the other thing about, oh, let the woman breathe because you can't, you shouldn't message her every day. And I'm like, well, if you are trying to eventually get married to someone, aren't you going to have to see them every day? Now, of course, if you're working 8-hour shifts, then you only see each other for maybe like 2, 3, 4, 5 hours a day, but you still have to get used to the idea of seeing that person for hours every day. Like you see your dad and your mother every day when you're a kid. No one says, "Oh, I need space from my parent," because you look crazy. No, men aren't allowed to have emotions. That's what it is. Vader, you know a certain fat clown that person calls himself that, MFC, and he actually said at one point he was tired of seeing men talk about their feelings. So that it's part of that same mindset. No, that guy the person I just called, that what happened is he pissed off one of his I don't want to call best friends, one of his top guys that he was friendly with, and so that guy did a 2-hour stream with some other people where he called him that fat clown. Again, when you're a man, all people do is dehumanize you. Like you're not allowed to have like any, think about like the romance groups, right? I don't put any of their names or titles anywhere here, but because I critique the behavior of women, I'm now part of these groups I have no affiliation with. I've never seen it happen to chicks before. If a woman puts up a video called "Why She Doesn't Bother Getting in a Relationship" or is sick of men or whatever, you're not going to see anyone say she's part of this team. Really think about it. You never see them get the kind of like assailing that men do online. I've seen some guys who will comment like on some woman's video calling her ugly. That does happen a couple of times. And you have people who will say that's messed up. You're trying to shame her appearance. But if they do it to me, it's fine. I don't have a vagina, so I can get harassed. I can be stalked across websites and made out to be the demon and all that. You said it best. Being a man is largely about the humanization, which makes sense given our role in modern society. Well, you understand that the whole character arc of people who criticize or are opposed to me saying I'm just not going to bother with chicks anymore is to infer basically I should get nothing out of approaching this group of people and then still be content enough with that result, which is again nothing, to want to keep approaching them. Because remember, I didn't quit until after going through that for at least 6 years, 2011, 2017. So their response is, "Oh, we know that this has never at any point turned out better for you, and that the only difference has been how many months or weeks, and what the broad says before she says that she's not interested. But you have to keep trying because that's what a man would do. Just keep trying this thing that doesn't work, and do this thing I want you to do that I believe if you do it will now magically be the difference." And that was another thing where the part of the dehumanizing, where you hear somebody say they've approached dozens of chicks, right? You think that person has really just at every point only done the same thing with each one. Think about it. If you do something 90 times, wouldn't it be different to some extent with the various times you do it? Keep trying is what a stubborn man would do. A smart man would regroup and start asking the questions you're asking. Why is this not working? Well, I told you, Slum Digger, that my best friend I met in second grade, me and him stopped going to school right as the chick stuff was starting, like right around 2011 or whatever, and we would just keep in contact with each other, just speak throughout the years or whatever. And we both noticed that we were having this same problem despite going to different schools, despite talking to different chicks, to where we didn't believe it was us anymore. And then you come online, you got all these other men saying the same thing. That's why I'm not going to take responsibility for being the one person who tried to make it work with regard to talking to all these different people. Watch all the YouTube clickbait videos where guys who have never been in a relationship in their life tell you how to do it, all because they watched some romance movie. Well, that's another thing. Like, I always ask this question: if I was a successful person, right, when it came to romance, why the hell would I be watching videos of people that weren't successful? Like, if seriously, if I got in a relationship tomorrow, I already don't watch their stuff, but I definitely wouldn't watch it then because it would have no use for me. Like, I know how to draw, and I don't look up videos on how to draw certain stuff because I already know how to do it. So, like, that's what made me really doubtful of the success of those people that were giving advice. Because why the hell would you be on this kind of stuff if you know all the tricks and trades or whatever? It's not like you're what are you, the romance prophet? Here to spread the good word about what you should do. I've seen a bunch of teenagers tell grown men how to marry. The thing is, guys, women don't care about looks. All you have to do is take her on a horseback ride through the sunset while climactic music plays in the background. Seriously, like it really does appear that when you're a man and you're online or just in real life, whatever, there are so many different things that are just meant to screw you over. Like, a lot of people really didn't get why I was trying to do the whole marriage thing. And I was trying to explain that when you have a system where, when it comes to child custody, it's in the favor of the woman, you better hope that that person is consistent in their liking of you, because they can screw you over with that very good or very easily because of the the laws associated with that. But again, a lot of that usually happens because it's a kid out of wedlock. and the parents hate each other after screwing, and then by the time the kid comes out there, they're like arch nemesis. I've seen that so many damn times where some parents that weren't married had a kid and then they hate each other. Like, is he coming over? Then that's a really good. I've never even thought of it like that until now with that word. That your arch nemesis is the mother of your child. It's nuts. Because she's trying to put you in jail for not paying. Yes, definitely. Whatever union you build with the woman, you better make sure she is trustworthy and she cares for you. Otherwise, things can go real bad. Who is this? Militant child. Oh, that's Malcolm X's great grandson. Or would it be great grandson? I know his actual grandson died like 10 years ago. Mm. How do we get back to this? We were on a completely different thing. But see, that's why I told you, when you do a stream, everybody's like in good synergy, and then somebody comes there trying to ruin things or mess stuff up or hop back to something that was talked about 20, 30, 40 minutes ago. Hey, James, they're gonna start thinking I've got some bots. Like as well timed as that was. Well, yeah, blue is my color. No, someone came on my stream on Saturday crying about me having the same shirt on, which is not true, but whatever. But yeah, blue is my color. It's supposed to mean hope and good. Because despite what people online like to say about me, I'm actually pretty decent. So we have to give you the symbolism of certain colors for you to. It's kind of like if you have a woman wearing white, it's supposed to be like a virgin or holy or whatever. We always got to wear blue to show you how good we are. That this is the channel of the decent people, the ones with the strong morals, the ones that aren't stalking people online for no damn reason. The ones that don't go to someone's video where they're active, where they're articulating a message and go, I wonder what he's got on. So the ones that actually stay on topic and discuss the important matters at hand. It was because of the shirts. He's always got on that hero color. Hey, I think that's the same guy because they did the same thing where they write one weird comment then they vanish. That's their what's it called? Their moniker, their modus operandi. Do you like being judged for your approaches? Perhaps you shouldn't judge so harshly. Uh, what's that documentary called? The Hate That Hate Produced. If you have a group of people antagonize you online and attack you for your opinion, you're not going to keep responding so nicely to what they have to say. Like, if you actually go watch the one I did that has 200,000 views, I was very respectful in that. But progressively, after getting harassed online, my tongue is not as nice. I'm not going to bite it anymore. Hey, they get what they gave. Like, I don't understand why people online should be able to talk to me any kind of way they want, but I'm supposed to have my hands tied. Let me just be nice. and not insult anybody, even though they've been insulting me for years. That makes a lot of sense. But since we're playing the game of what do you call it, using metaphors, I'm gonna have myself reflected back at me as this person is got two mirrors. I know I'm having myself reflected back because I've got the camera where I can see myself. Everybody online is a poet. It's like, you stick one finger at her, but three point back at you. That's something that people would say like that. Oh yeah. Well, that's my thing. Like, seriously, if you watch the earlier romance stuff I did, I didn't call anybody out of their names. I was respectful, quote unquote. And even today, I don't show anyone's pictures. Uh, I don't say their names, which is far better than what's been done for me, where they'll take my picture or my video and try to insult me with my name in the title. But I'm the one who's got the mean old rhetoric. Like, seriously, if you can construe that I'm the antagonistic person out of what do you call it, the assortment of people online, then you really have it backwards. That's like Twilight Zone logic. He's judging so harshly. It's not like they did that to him for years before he did it. I'm supposed to be nice, and everybody else gets to throw stones. No, Slum Digger. The video I was gonna do is actually gonna show probably 30, 40 different ones. I haven't done any this month. No, you haven't missed an update. I just haven't done one of those in a few months. So whichever one I do is probably going to be the longest one out of any of them. I think you heard the part about I had the interview where the pricks that were working at this one restaurant took my application and sent it halfway across the state. Not actually halfway across the state, but it was 50 something miles, which is far away from whatever I applied to. And it would cost 138 on like a Uber to go to and from the interview. And I was like, yeah, that isn't even remotely worth it. But yeah, that was the last update. But people get to judge me harshly, and I'm supposed to just be like, well, they bite my tongue. I've got at least 5 different messages of men talking about how hideous I am in my email on these different, videos. But I'm supposed to just go, I can't say anything. Because remember, I don't put up anyone's picture ever. So I've been attacked how I look, from Monday to Sunday, but then with actually responding to stuff with chicks, I don't put up any of their images. But yeah, that was another person that was interested in my shirt, so that's 3 of them. That's what's a good way to describe that? The terribly irrelevant trio. Irrelevant is in there. They're worrying about something that's very irrelevant to what's actually being discussed. Yeah. You get attacked from all directions if you're a man, and if you're a woman, you get to just kind of skirt around and not really. get told to self-reflect. Because when I was self-reflecting, I thought it was very weird to take issue with myself for something that for a decision other people are making. So if I say, yes, I want to get with someone, that person says, oh, I'm not interested. How is it my fault that the person wasn't interested? They're the one who chose to not be interested. That person just came and said, I've noticed that you wear this. Well, that's what they do. They come and write something weird that like intervenes with the, because we were having a pretty decent discussion. They come and write something weird and then they vanish. Like Jimmy Hoffa. So people online do very crazy things, and they love to antagonize people. They love to be contrarian. They love to look at someone have a well-crafted message, or at least one that is thought out. You know, they're giving examples and um, trying to illustrate to you why they're making the point that they're making, and then get involved in something that doesn't have anything to do with anything. That was really what the issue I had with the shirt thing was, which is that you're trying to use someone's appearance as your subject of discussion more so than what they actually say. Notice that when this person wrote, uh, perhaps you shouldn't judge so harshly, they didn't give any examples of where I have judged harshly, because it's not about articulating a view that makes sense to the people you're responding to. It's just let's write crazy crap and then dip, as James said, and then vanish. And how, what's Goku's move again? Instant transmission. They just teleport out of here. I've noticed your shirt. Bye. Well, that's the thing. They can't do it in real life. Like if you're in a classroom, for example, uh, you have to respond to what's being said, or else you get kicked out, or you get in some kind of trouble for not, participating in the way that the instructor would like you to. That's why so many people feel empowered online, because you can do a lot of unfair or nasty things and then just kind of walk away. That's why when I was telling you guys about the Discord snake and his hypocrisy, I was pointing to the fact that he um, supported people having the right to put someone that's streaming's address in the description, like write the person's address on the stream. He said that was free speech, but then he opposed putting out the information of people who hide their faces, because they probably hide their faces to be protected from their opinions getting at them. And I'm like, how do you think it's okay to put out someone information online if they stream, but then if they just write nasty stuff, oh, they can, they get to keep their self hidden. Again, it all goes back to the hypocrisy. So ALU, if you go around telling people they deserve to die and you're a piece of trash and all that nonsense, right? And you have your face hidden, that's good, because we're trying to protect you from being punished for what you write online. But if you do streams, I know you did like a stream on chess. He believes I should be able to write your address in the description and not get banned from at least your channel for because that supposedly is free speech in that case. And then they wonder why I don't want to talk to them. Because like, who wants to speak with people who believe that? Who support you being harassed online? And again, a lot of them don't want to deal with because I said before, the consequence for supporting things that make my stomach turn is I just won't talk to you. You can feel that way if you want. I just don't want to interact with you. Like if you think it makes sense that people should be able to come to my page and harass me, I don't want to talk to you. Free speech doesn't. Well, that's the thing. Slum Digger, he said that he supported there being consequences for what you say online, right? Or what you say, period. But then he said that death threats should be legalized, when the whole point of them being illegal is that you can say them, but the consequence is that you'll get in trouble for saying them. So he says he's basically saying, like, he's talking to both sides of his neck, where he's saying he supports there being consequences, but then in that particular case, he wants to get rid of the consequence. But yeah, I knew that person was writing something crazy when I saw that first part of their name, militant. I don't remember militant people being so interested in what somebody's wearing as they're talking about an issue. I don't remember militant people uh, trying to accuse you of something with no evidence. Again, that's just another guy online that, more harassment for me. Yeah, Megumi was trying to get in on the train. Why do you keep leaning back? Why don't you lay on your chair? Why? When I was in 8th grade, I actually had some little, I don't want to say little girl, but some younger classmate or student at the school come up and ask me, why do you put because I would wear glasses at that point, and I put them on my head, like, he's like, why do you put your glasses at the top? Like, people do get concerned about these things that really have no bearing on them. Now, Megumi, waiting to come back to the stream tomorrow, and you'll see where the person came in here. They accused me of judging so harshly, right? But then they don't give any examples of how I judge so harshly. Like, they were claiming I'm getting what I deserve because I judge people harshly, but that would me, I guess, upping my rhetoric to say more insulting terms only came after I was insulted on here. So it's cause and effect. But see, they want to look at the aftermath without looking at the thing that triggered it. Doesn't that remind you of middle school and high school when kids and teenagers would be judging every little thing, like you had to be cool at all times? Right shoes, right shirt, right, yeah, all that. I even had one student. I went to a Catholic school for 8th grade, and the like one little customizing thing I would do for my uniform is I would have this black T-shirt underneath, and you could like see the little part of it up here. And he was like, "Why you always got on that black top?" Like, that they remind me of that. It's really weird too, because when I was in college, I didn't have anyone like harassing me or insulting me over the way I looked. So I guess it's like I thought maybe people had grown up because people always like to say people mature so much when they get older, and then you go and go online, and then people who are adult age are still writing the same stupid crap. But Gumi, I always wonder why people don't show their face on here. Now I understand why. Like, who the hell wants to do a video where they talk for like an hour or 10 minutes or whatever, then any extended period of time, and then the only thing some clown can surmise is, let me see what you have on today so I can find something to say. I know you gave this really good, compelling case for why you believe something, but I'm going to talk about things that don't matter, like what you're wearing and what you're sitting on. Megumi, if I look, they would do that if I talked about anything. If I talked about sports, he's using sports to cope with not getting a woman. If I talked about, I don't know, movies, he's using movies to cope with not getting with the woman. People always ask why content creators don't show their face. The truth is, it's usually because they want you to focus on the message. There are a lot of people like that on here. Yeah, I understand now why, like I understood before, but I definitely understand why not Megumi, why VVS doesn't do it. Because who the hell wants to get harassed over? Like I said, I got a whole email filled with messages from all of these straight men talking about the way I look. Because apparently this is I didn't know that my channel had turned into a fashion show or the beauty parlor. That'd be funny if I did a stream in a beauty salon. I'm like, all right, well, since all the straight men are so concerned about my appearance, keep asking, I'm gonna go get a supposed makeover, and I'm just sitting there on the chair, and you got this pink wall behind me. No, people online are out of their damn mind. Like the things they focus on, and oh, Megumi, you didn't hear me earlier when I was talking about. So I know you don't like politics, but I used to edit on Wikipedia, and that's a website that says it wants people to contribute to be volunteers. So the same one of the users that stalked me on there ended up writing this thing about how the site doesn't like need you or doesn't need people, and then as he's writing that, the site is begging people to donate to it so they don't have to put ads on there. So like as they're telling you they don't need you, they're asking you for money. Like, we don't need you, Megumi. Please give us dollars, please, please. But I was also saying that when I was like sitting back after getting harassed on there the last time, I was just thinking to myself, like when it came to logging back in, it's not like there's a reward. Like there's a pot of gold sitting on my computer if I log in. I've never seen a site so dependent on people have someone write that they don't need other people. Like that's nuts. The lack of self-awareness on that side is astounding. But like I said, a lot of times when you get pissed off on people with people on there, it's because you have logic and they have emotion. So they'll tell you your article is too big, and then they'll have pages that are two, sometimes three times larger than the one that they're saying is too big that you want to keep at the length that it is. I literally had a guy try to delete a page I made that there are over 20 before he tried to delete it, over 20 different similar articles to it. So like sometimes they have a filmography for an actor, right? Let's say I make a filmography for, I don't know, Chris Evans, right? Just as an example. And they go, oh, this is a promotion. Well, hell, what are the other 20 pages that are just like this then? But again, all that like weird stuff it's always a man. The people on there have some really questionable logic. I used to see that ad when I visited Wikipedia at times. Well, it still shows up every couple of months. We don't need you. Please give us money. I know we said that we don't need you, but it would mean the world to us if you gave us some coins. That website and the people who edit on it deserve each other. I do feel bad to an extent because there are some decent people on there who do want to like resolve stuff and actually do have some common sense, but they get overshadowed by all the clowns. And I had the guy who was like, "You got so upset that this person deleted you." I was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna edit on here for free and get harassed and then keep coming back. What the hell?" Oh yeah, I had some clown on some forum talking about my chain. Um, I mean, I already explained the backstory. I had a relative who died when I was in, I think, third grade. My she was my great aunt. Yeah, they gave it to me when I was about 2 or 3, so it's like a memento to them. But again, people are scum and garbage online, so they can insult you over something as minute as that. You got rejected because you wore a cross. Man, the just they will find anything to attack you over. I can't wait until somebody says you got rejected because your eyebrows are too small or something. Yeah, because we all know there are no gang members with women. We know that that's definitely not occurring. Hell, I always remember this story because people like to use chicks as like a moral factor. Like, oh, if you think he's weird, no wonder he's not with anyone. There was a guy who, uh, along with another gang member, shot an 8-year-old boy in Chicago 5 years ago because they were upset with his dad. It was like retaliation. And I'll always remember that the guy was bailed out of jail by his little stupid girlfriend. And it always struck me as proof that you can do morally reprehensible stuff and still have a partner. There are serial killers that have been married. There are, pedophiles that have been like, any gross thing you can think of, they have a partner a lot of times. So I don't get where this weird thing came out of. You must, dude, Megumi, would you like a video where I just go through all the different murderers that have had partners? Because I can go pull them up. No, it goes further than that. Like, Gacy killed 30 people and he was married and had a kid. Like, there's a whole bunch of them. BTK was married. The entire time he was going out slashing broads in Wichita. And people want to act like if you don't have a woman, that's because you are too much this or too like. Well, hell, I clearly can't be any worse than someone that's murdered 10 people. Like, if you start saying I'm worse than them, you really are just twisted and demented. Just objectively. Hell, even my own trolls on here, I won't say are as bad as a murderer. I'll never get over the Night Stalker. So let me tell you what happened. 2 years before I started actively putting stuff, like got into my thing of putting stuff up daily on YouTube, this serial killer died. And I did a video laughing about it. I was 15 at the time. And his groupies came on. I even showed a screenshot of this in one of my more recent videos, I Should Die or whatever, because I made fun of this great, amazing man or whatever. And I always remember the fact that when his case was going on after he killed all these different people, he had a whole bunch of groupies in the back of the courtroom doing all this. And then after he went to jail, he got married to some bimbo. And only 4 years before he died, so when I was 11, she divorced him because they found DNA that he might have killed some little girl. And that was like the last straw for her. Because before that, she had said she would kill herself if he was put to death. So she was fine with him killing all those different innocent people. But when she found out he might have, murdered some little girl, oh now I'm this is morally objectionable. Like, at every turn, disgusting men have had chicks. Because they're not this like big thing that used to be so exclusive to get, historically anyway. For most of like the time of man, it was a pretty easy thing to get abroad. But now people try to, like, that's why I said they weaponize your sexuality. Yeah, because as long as they think you're pretty, they don't care. That guy murdered, let me go look how many people he killed. But yeah, I always remember that because that was pretty much my first encounter with like being harassed over a video. And it was people who were trying to defend a serial killer, like a person who murdered over, like, imagine if I murdered over 10 people. You know how crazy it would look to have someone defend, like, imagine just hypothetical. Let's say it came out next year that I murdered 10 people or 12 people, just some random number. Are you really going to defend me? Like that is insane. But they were actually thinking they were morally right. Like, yeah, he was a great guy. Let me see. 14. So people were more upset with me for laughing at a guy who killed 14 people dying than at a guy who killed 14 people. Yeah, I don't defend murderers unless it's self-defense. But that was him screwing and hurting innocent people for no damn reason other than to be a demon. People online draw some very strange stances to where it's like I had more people attacking me over laughing at a person who killed 14 people for no reason dying than getting mad at the person who killed 14 people for no reason dying. I always remember that one bimbo that said, he's going in the history books. You're a nobody that'll be forgotten the moment you die. And I'm like, oh, if you want to talk about some like A class, first class, memorable murderers, he's nowhere near the top. You got Bundy, you have Gacy, Dahmer. He's like a second or third rate or 10th rate addition. You might be going in one book, but it isn't no Hall of Fame or any historical record. Hell, the original Night Stalker is way more important in terms of just, number of casualties and just records, I guess, committed. And they didn't catch him until 2 years ago. Human beings are so vain, they can't help but ascribe positive traits to pretty people without knowing anything about them. But they did know that he killed all those people. And because they thought he was pretty and I wasn't, they attacked me. And I even had some clown who said, you insulting him makes you no better than him. So wait a second, because I laughed at a murderer dying, I'm now as bad as the murderer. Look, that's the kind of little third grade playground saying logic that they have. Told you, that's all people online do is try to get you to feel bad about something you believe or your stance or position. It just doesn't work on me anymore. So I said, this is real confidence. When you know what you believe is right, you tell the rest of the clowns to go take a hike. Yeah, that shirt thing should be an example of just how uh, the most like non-important details get made into being a big deal when they're not. And I already explained, the only reason that it appears that way is because I record a whole bunch of stuff on one day. Whereas in the past, I used to actually record daily, like record for a few minutes a day. And instead, I just said, things are too hectic and people are around too much for me to keep doing that. Begging for women's approval just won't work. Hey, anything for a vagina. No, people online have a really sick and twisted, demented side to themselves. And again, maybe it's because they don't make videos, they don't understand, but it's like, I don't want to do a video where I write out a several page long script and all someone can respond from that is, I didn't like the clothes you had on. Like it really shouldn't matter in the slightest. And it does detract from the work that's put into it. It's just, I feel the same way about different shows. Like I've seen some people who criticize Super and they're like, I didn't like the animation. Like, man, listen, if that show had a great story and some like decent slash subpar look or whatever, it just wouldn't be a factor. Same thing with movies where they sit around crying about special effects. I'm like, look, I don't care if it has a good story. I really couldn't care less if the CGI isn't up to the par of what you think it should be. They concern themselves with things trivial or don't matter to distract from what's being said in the video. My brother actually was wearing a yellow shirt when he was over here yesterday. Is the ironic part about that? Yeah, they use those things to take away. But you know, the reason they were so like focused on calling me ugly is actually a little bit more devious. They're doing that so they can ascribe a reason for you not getting with someone without knowing who you are or knowing anything about you. Oh, I think this person's ugly, so it makes sense that they're not with anyone. No. Yeah, yeah, the prospect of crickets and dead silence. That's the one that's come up. So I said, people online. I'm so uh, I am really glad I made the decision a few years back to just not take what people write on here to heart because it can do major damage if you are not well adjusted. Again, especially if you're a man, you will get attacked in so many different ways. Like I've had people talk about the way I look, my voice, what I had on, where I was sitting, just anything you can think of, because they have nothing nice to say, and as long as it exists, they will try to demean it. Me wearing this has no goddamn bearing on anything I've ever said in any video whatsoever. But I've seen at least 2 or 3 different posts about it. And that should tell you something. That there is an infatuation with getting obsessed with things that don't matter and using them to skirt around addressing something of a seriousness. Just like if a lot of those people who did the thing about me being ugly or whatever, if they came and actually responded to what I was saying in a video at various points, their stuff wouldn't have got yanked. But if you're just going to sit there and hurl insults, I don't really see how this is a constructive dialogue, because I don't do that to other people. Like I don't go on it like all these little different chicks or whatever. I don't go on any of their on their videos. Uh, it doesn't happen. So that's why when that idiot was talking about you criticize others so harshly, I'm not harassing them. I'm not going on their videos or putting up their pictures. I've done nothing that can at any point identify any of these people to where they can get attacked because I mentioned them. Yeah, so many trolls, and I have a block list of 300 people. It's about to have one more on it after we do this stream. And none of those people got banned for writing something that disagreed with me. They all got banned for being nasty. Megumi, imagine if you did a video where you sat back for 10. I mean, I can get Google Hangouts. What's that thing? Yeah, Google Hangouts, and then screenshot or screen share and just scroll down and show all the different people. But Megumi, imagine if you did a video where you sat back for 10, 12, 13 minutes articulating your opinion on not getting with the broad, and you're giving all these different examples. You're talking about how it's affected you. Whether someone agrees or not, it's objectively a nuanced take on something that has that you've put some thought into, right? And then my response is, you probably feel this way because you're gay. Like, to what extent is that video benefited by that? Hey, remember, the romance crew coming through, doing anything. Annoy me so damn much, I gotta sing. Well, they won't spite me because, like I said, I don't go to these other people's videos. They come to me. I haven't watched a single, outside of VBS, I haven't watched a single other person's. I put it like this: I haven't watched a single video about how to get a woman or whatever in 4 years. Yeah, you aren't allowed to have grievances. Yeah, well, that really shouldn't be that big of a shock because there's a phenomenon that people who make certain content don't watch other people do the same thing. David Pakman said he doesn't watch other political commentators because he's too busy with his own show. So that's a thing where the more you do of something, the less you want to see of other people doing it, or the less you see of other people doing it. Well, I wouldn't put it past him. I had one guy I got rid of on a stream because he kept spamming, still no evidence that Trump committed a crime. And then after 2 messages, he revealed himself on another account, and that one guy was yanked too. So they like to do that. If you're a chick, well, you are allowed to express your frustration and bash whoever you like without anyone ever considering criticizing her. Yeah. And again, I'm still fairly decent in terms of, because I could just as easily uh, put up these people's numbers or their pictures, and I don't do any of that, and I don't get any credit. Still the demon, still the son of Satan. I'm telling you, every single time I've been insulted on here that I've seen, they don't hide my face. They don't not say my name. They don't make it easy for you to come and insult me after they insult me. Like it, that's why I said I'm tired of I tie my hands and then they get to just throw knives. Makes sense. Since you're providing your own content, you need to check others out. Well, with me, I've just been finding new, different ways to spin on it. But even then, it still is the thing I do the least. Like the only thing I do less than the romance stuff is my show, and that's only because I have to draw like 700 plus pictures for each episode. So that's by happenstance rather than a desire, and wait for VAs to do lines. To be more emotional and express myself, but when I did, I was told I wasn't respecting how she felt. That's kind of ironic because the whole thing with Triple L that made her so obnoxious was that you would show her like sympathy, and then she would show you contempt or try to explain away someone else's screwed up behavior. So she mentioned being thrown into some closet with some guy, and now she was so afraid because she was worried that they were trying to make her do something with this guy or whatever. And then you're supposed to go, "Oh, that really sucks." And then when you tell her about something that bothers you, well, maybe they thought, did you consider that they possibly, well, maybe if you had done, like, dingbat, get out of here. Okay, Twitter is just the number one place to gossip and trash talk anyone freely. So much toxicity on there. Glad I stay clear from those social media. Anyways, it's not healthy. Well, I think YouTube is healthy if you just make stuff and don't read the comment section. Twitter is a lot easier if you just mute people and don't look up your own name. Like people just write stuff to you, but you don't look at it, and then you don't look at what they're writing to your handle. Again, with all these websites, they're only bad when there's too much of the people on them. Like Discord, actually, if you're in a server with people who don't act crazy, and that usually ends up not happening because the more people that come, the more insane mindsets you have. It can be a pretty decent site. Like on there, I only was in 2 servers, and one of them only has 5 people in it, and I don't have any drama anymore. But even in that server, there was a guy that was like annoying to me, so I was thinking of leaving it. And if I did, I know I wouldn't have any drama because I wouldn't be in a server with other people in there anymore. So again, there's a way to mitigate all these sites. This guy says, will you review Young Justice? No, I already talked about that show. I like the first season. The last 2, not so much. I have no social media outside of YouTube, and I'm good with that. Well, then I went on Facebook and I found somebody named Slumdigger, and they had that same picture. I wonder who that is. I remember this one guy who used to do romance stuff would go on. He would put up the picture of the woman, and he would. I'll never forget. She had some red hair, like short red hair, and he was like, he would take their picture, say what they remind him of, and he says she looks like that blue broad off of Gargoyles. And I was laughing because I forgot her name, so that's what I remembered her as. That blue broad off of the one that the evil chick. No, that's that same slum digger. That's not your stunt double. That's you. Got that same picture and name spelled the same way. This isn't the Clone Saga. That's you. I was wondering where James went. I thought he disappeared. I was getting all worried. I thought the militant brat decided to to steal you. You're like, we're gonna go to a secret room where we can talk about this man's shirt every day for no reason. It's a Spider-Man arc, or I guess storyline that went on for way longer than it should have. That was the guy that wrote the comment about my shirt, and then wrote the comments about how I judge people so harshly, and I'm being treated the same way as other people treat me. So I'm not changing what I wear for somebody on here that doesn't even listen to what I have to say anyway. He's not getting rewarded for that. A GoFundMe so you can have different shirts. I'm so flattered. But see, they didn't even come up with anything that witty. They just write random crap. So I said this website has some of the most, just, what's a good way of saying it? Trivial human beings on it out of any of them. I'm gonna cry about this man's shirt because that's gonna make my life better somehow. I'm gonna cry about this man's penis because that's going to make my life better eventually. Like if he finds out this person hasn't been screwed, then some broad is gonna just pop out of his chair, fall out from the sky. I'm gonna worry about whether his first time was with someone that wanted to do it or someone that was paid to do it because that's going to somehow make my life better. That's going to up my chances with getting screwed. Yeah, it's just a rerun. Well, that's because the chick thing. You know what's funny? The trolls on the chick stuff, or the people that write the weird stuff on that. They're all like the same in the sense that with the chick stuff, it's annoying because you keep approaching and you get the same result over and over. They just write the same stupid stuff over and over. Like that shirt comment was first written to me 3 years ago by somebody else. So it just never stops. Like you just get forever stuck in the same pattern of people writing the same crap about the same things that don't matter. Shout out to all the men who still brag about getting intimacy despite being 20 plus. I mean, again, if I was that successful with chicks, I don't know why I would be watching this kind of stuff. Like I said, I know how to draw, and you don't see me looking up. How do you draw Goku? Oh, James, do you know how to make music? Do you look up how to make music, like music tutorials? Just think of something you know you can do, and just ask yourself if you actively look up how to do it. So if I know how to get a woman, why would I be looking up people talking about not being able to get with one? We should start calling that the romance prophets or the romance aficionados. They've come to spread the good word about. If you follow my advice, you will swim in pussy. You are 6 feet tall, but if you listen to me, the underwear will fall. I'm telling you, everybody on here sounds like such a used car salesman after a while. And you get screwed, and you get screwed, and you get screwed, and you get screwed. Yeah, they actually did do a. There's some poll that was done, and they found out that the most attractive eye color is green. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's cool, but I'm not about to dye my eyes green for some dingbats that weren't paying me any attention to go and get interested. Like even with something like that, we can actually prove there's a poll to support it. I'm still not going to do it. Like you shouldn't have to make some big cosmetic change to yourself that you don't want. But even if it was, the idea that like things will be better if you just get this different eye color or this different shirt or to have this muscle, like it's all the same stupid scam where they try to make it seem as if you just do these appearance changes and now you're going to have some completely different result. Because we all know no man with muscles has ever been turned down. That's never happened. I mean, they don't have to make any changes or sacrifices to get with anyone. No, it's not time to get some contact. It's time to tell them to go to hell if they think I'm doing any of that crazy crap. Like I said, when you come online, they try to attack you in every way they can. And you have to be able to brave through the BS. Because people on here will lambast you for anything. Like, I mean, it is when I really think about just the variety of the ways I've been attacked on here, it's pretty insane. And again, I don't try to say that to make myself a victim or to appear to be some sympathetic figure, but I mean, I can just go down the list. I've been like, even if we don't talk about the physical stuff, it's oh, your voice, you stuttering because nobody's ever done a video where they've stuttered. The the editing techniques. Oh, I don't like your mic. I don't like your art. So, well, hell, nobody said you had to look at it. As we are told to be ourselves, but at the same time are told to change any aspect about us to appease what they believe is acceptable to get with the chick. And again, you're making all of these changes on the chance that this will now be suddenly appealing to a broad. Because I even tried to make this point. There are people like if someone approaches from the time they're of early adolescence to when they're an adult, they probably have changed in some ways. I've changed in some ways, but if I'm still getting turned down after supposedly changing, then what difference did it make? That's why I was saying it's not about the person, it's these people who just don't care what you are, will still say no anyway. Because I even had Triple L, for as dumb as she is, say, "Oh, you probably don't act the same way you did when you were 13." I was like, "Yeah, but you still get the same results. So what's the difference?" Oh yeah, the creepy clown that stalked me on here off of Discord Snake. He was like, "I thought maybe it's the glasses." I was like, "Yes, yes. If I just take these off." so much orgasming will commence among these broads. And that's the other thing about people not knowing someone online. If I do a stream for an hour out of a 24-hour day, it's almost 2 hours now. I can, let's say I'm wearing glasses the whole time. I could take them off for the rest of the day. That's why I said that, like, people who are so not aware of all that goes on in your daily life, or when you talk to these chicks, they act like they're experts out of nowhere. Seriously, I could do a whole series of videos over the week where it's like me doing a video for 4 or 5 minutes wearing glasses, and I could go to the mall or the supermarket and not have them on, and then still get turned down. So I just wish people would stop trying to use things that are not that big of a deal, because you really need to believe no one who's ever not worn glasses or worn glasses has had that be some major factor in if they were able to get screwed or not. Oh, by the way, I didn't start regularly wearing glasses until 2015. So for the first 4 years of me approaching chicks, I wasn't wearing them and still got turned down. So that should tell you something. That should already be enough of an indicator that was BS. But since people don't like to use their critical thinking skills, they just write more trash. Let me get the keyboard. If you didn't wear glasses, things would be so different. I don't think I've ever said to myself that I can't date a woman because she's mocking some spectacles. I could care. Oh, because she's rocking some spectacles. Yeah, I've been attracted to chicks that wear glasses. I don't care. Like, people really act like these things are kryptonite, that you just put them on and now you look so completely different, and like you transform when you were like you're an Autobot or Decepticon, and now we don't even know who you are. Like, you don't have the same physique, the same face. Like, that's nuts. We're gonna make a show. It's gonna be called was it Spectacles for Disguise or something. It's like, oh my God, he wore glasses. Oh my God, and he takes them off. He is so handsome when he doesn't have those 4 eyes. Now he's attractive to both women and guys. Like, what the hell? Yeah, people just say whatever they want online because they're weird. And they have strange opinions that don't make much sense. Well, that's most likely because majorities of guys are love-starved. Well, you know what? Oh, you're responding to Slum Digger. Okay. A man would, even if she had a taco, had a sign said "Beware, do not enter." Well, I thought you were talking about the glasses. Yeah, but it's the same thing of it's a non-factor for a lot of people, and they try to make it bigger than it actually is. And to be fair, the guy probably wouldn't see that written on her vagina until they're getting intimate. So it's like, I got this far and now I'm gonna quit because she has that sign on there. Anyways, I'm about to get off of here because I'm tired. I'm trying to do this video tomorrow and finish the script the next couple of hours. So thanks for showing up. People are full of crap. And it would be very nice if I could stop getting harassed by men online for physical traits that I would think they would not find appealing in the first place. So.